Every chess site will tell you this opening is refuted, and they're not wrong. That's the refutation, right there. Plus 1.4 for white. Here's the part nobody puts on the thumbnail. Plus 1.4 isn't losing. It's an edge, a real one, and the gap between refuted and plus 1.4 is where this whole video lives. This is the Latvian Gambit, chess's most confidently insulted opening, and by the end of this video, you will know which insults are earned and which ones are just people repeating what the last guy said. 1 e4, e5. 2, knight f3, f5. Black attacks the center pawn on move 2, no build-up, no waiting. It's old. Older than old usually means in chess. Greco was already writing about this idea centuries ago. The modern name comes from Latvian analysts, who kept trying to make it work anyway. Here's the honest verdict before we go any further. This opening is risky, still dangerous, not sound, not a secret equalizer. It's a bet that somebody, either side, gets one of the next 6 moves wrong. The rest of this video is about exactly how often that bet actually pays. 4 claims, 4 real positions, no opening mythology survives the number. Claim 1, this opening is refuted. White takes the free pawn and threatens queen h5 plus down the diagonal. Black just opened. Black's only sane answer is queen f6, attacks the knight, and covers g6 so that check stops being scary. White builds the center next, and black still has to prove that pawn was worth it. And now white has a decision that a coaching site turned into an entire refutation article. 5 knight d3, quiet, almost boring. And it's the move that actually breaks this opening, not with a crushing tactic, just by putting the knight on the one square that does everything at once, guards the king, eyes the holes on c5 and e5, and stays out of white's own development. Dep 22 backs it up. Even black's best try here, f takes e4, only holds the damage to plus 1.4. Knight c6 and queen takes d4 plus 1.6 and plus 1.7. This isn't a new discovery either. Spielman punished Nimzowitsch with the engine's other top retreat, knight c4, back in 1926. Confirmed, but look at the number again. Plus 1.4 is a real structural stable edge. It is not a forced loss, it is not mate in anything. Knight d3 isn't even the engine's outright top choice. Knight c4 edges it by a hair, plus 1.51 against plus 1.47. Basically the same move, wearing a different hat. Refuted means a player who finds the right square gets a solid grindable edge. Claim 1, checked. Claim 2, so it's basically losing by force. Different move order, same idea. White retreats the knight, black's queen lands on g6, and now the temptation is obvious. Grab the pawn on d3 and call it even. Don't. 6 takes d3 is not black's best defense. 7 bishop takes d3 and the number jumps to plus 3.5. Not a grind anymore, closer to a resignation with extra moves. Black's actual best defense skips the pawn grab entirely. Bishop b4 or knight f6, holding the damage back around plus 1.6, plus 1.7. Reset that branch. Bishop b4 is the actual defense, same range as the main refutation. Not worse, not better. Consistent. Now the other acceptance, white grabs the pawn outright with e takes f5, black hits back in the center with e4, and one particular try, 4 knight e5, looks like it wins material outright. White's knight just ate a rook. On paper, white is up an exchange and a pawn, and this looks like the moment the opening dies for good. Except the knight can't get home. Black's queen collects the bishop that stranded it there, and now there's exactly one correct move left on the board. 9 queen takes h5, trading queens, is the only move that doesn't lose. Black recaptures with the knight on f6. The queens actually come off the board. Try to keep the extra material instead, d4 or knight c3, and it's -2, -2 and a quarter for white, not because black found some hidden brilliancy. White's knight got stuck on h8, and the only way out is giving the material back. So this exchange sack just wins outright? Myth. What actually happens is a forced trade down to a dead level position. Black gave up the exchange to survive, not to win, and the honest scoreline is 0.00. If someone shows you this line as proof the gambit is crushed, they skip the force part. Claim 3, the real danger is white's cleverness. Wrong direction. The single most dangerous move in this entire opening isn't anything white plays, it's the very next move black makes, if black makes the wrong one. Grabbing the e4 pawn immediately before defending the attacked e5 square looks completely natural. You're a gambit player, the pawn's right there, take it. 4 queen h5 check, that's the diagonal black just opened for nothing, plus 2.74, not a slow squeeze, a near immediate structural collapse, play the best defense and it barely moves, plus 2.85, panic instead, walk the king to e7 and plus 8.37 isn't a number anymore, it's a eulogy. The second landmine is quieter and somehow worse. Play d6 here instead of the correct queen f6, thinking you're calmly propping up the center a move early, and queen h5 check is plus 3.28. Worse than the first landmine because there is no clever diagonal trick excusing it. Walk the king to e7 here and it isn't a bad position anymore, it's mate in 1. Claim 3, flipped. The scariest thing in this opening isn't a white refutation you have to memorize, it's one move, queen f6. No substitutes. Standing between a playable gambit and a self-inflicted disaster. White doesn't need to be clever here. Black just needs to remember one square. Because it would be dishonest to stop there, white has landmines too. Bishop c4 looks like the safe, natural developing answer. If7. Get a piece out. Ignore the weird pawn move black just played. It isn't safe. Queen g5 attacks the knight on e5 and the pawn on g2 at the same time, and white's most tempting reply makes everything worse. 5 knight f7, queen takes g2, rook f1 d5. There is no pawn left on f7 to grab, but the knight forced the queen and rook in the corner anyway. Black just grabs g2 right back and leaves the fork alone, and a rook is now staring down an open file. It did not have a use for a move ago. Here is the exact moment white's greed turns into a losing position. 7 bishop takes d5 looks like collecting on the investment. It's the losing move. White's best try was already minus 0.68. Pull the pawn and it drops to minus 2.27, heading toward minus 2 or worse by the time the smoke clears. One more, because this one is famous for the wrong reason. White grabs the rook on h8 with the queen, and it looks catastrophic, like the queen is about to get trapped in the corner for a laugh. King f7, not a panic move, the only move, and enough. Dead level, 0.00. The queen isn't trapped, white isn't losing, and queen takes h8 was a perfectly reasonable try, close to engine best. Some sources call this position precarious for white. It's not precarious. It's just hard. The queen is offside on h8. White has to find only moves for a few turns. Hard and losing are not the same thing. And even the quiet decline hides a trap. 3 knight c3, and if white recaptures the wrong way, 4 knight takes e4 instead of 4 knight takes e5. A real plus 1.33 edge evaporates down to nothing in one move, plus 0.22. Same lesson as everything above, this opening does not forgive autopilot for either color. 4 claims checked, 1 real refutation, 1 forced equalizer, 2 move order disasters, and landmines for white too. The opening is not a joke. It is a sharp test of who stops playing on autopilot first. Refuted does not mean a free win. That is the whole bet here. So, refuted, sort of. The strongest, most honest line for white holds a real, lasting, roughly plus 1.4 edge, and that part's earned. But refuted has been doing a lot of work it hasn't paid for. A forced dead equal queen trade got sold as a crushing exchange sack, an offside queen got called precarious instead of equal, and the most dangerous position in the whole opening isn't anything white finds, it's black, forgetting queen f6. Risky, still dangerous. This isn't a secret equalizer, it's not a free win for anybody either. It's a sharp, old opening, one that shows up more as a surprise weapon in fast time controls than in careful classical chess, and it punishes whichever side plays the first 6 moves on autopilot. It does not care which color that side is. Chess! But you're cooked.